What's up, guys? So today, I guess you guys can see from the title of this video, I am installing this sunroof, this Power Moonroof, into my Dodge van, which is right there. Now, I suggest before you guys install it into your vehicle, always do a bench test. That way you know what functions work, what doesn't work, because it is much easier to repair anything that may be wrong with this while it's on the table like this. So I got everything wired up. I isolated the wires just for the moonroof, and now we're gonna see how it works. So this is a one-touch sunroof, which basically means hit the button once and it opens up. You don't have to hold it to open it. It's just gonna do that. One touch to close it, like that. Everything is going nice and smooth. Now, also it has the tilt function. That's nice. See, that works. And just because it's one touch, you still can open it up in sections to wherever you want, like that. So let me close it. So as you guys see, everything is working out beautifully. All right, guys, so now that it all checked out and everything works, let's get to the video.
All right. You're gonna learn today.
Okay, so for those of you that want to know what sunroof I'm using today, this is from a 2007 to 2013 Chevy, Sierra, Tahoe, you know, that class of family. The Suburban is from that class of family. So this is a nice size sunroof. Now, for anybody looking to do this is what I'm going to tell you that you should get. Whether you get it from Marketplace, whether you get it from somebody, you know, parting it out, or the junkyard, or eBay, or wherever you choose to get your sunroof, make sure you get the roof skin with it. You need the sunroof, the harness, the roof skin. If possible, get the headliner. It's not necessary, but I'm going to tell you why in a minute, why it's a good thing if you can get the headliner. And if possible, that headliner trim right there. Now, everything else you can make. Oh, and the switch. So when I bought this, I got all of this except for the switch. I got the roof skin, the trim, the headliner, and the sunroof itself. But he had already sold the switch by the time I bought all of this. So the beautiful thing about using factory sunroofs as opposed to aftermarket is it's very easy to get parts for if you need to replace a part. Like if I use this motor, it's very easy to get if the motor burns out. If I need that switch, like I said, I bought it, didn't come with a switch. I got the switch off eBay for like 25 bucks. So it's very easy to get these parts if you need to get them. Now, what I have here are the drains. Now, he did give me the factory drain hoses, but because this is a custom application, I don't think it's going to work, but you know, we'll see what happens when we get into it. So what I bought was a 100-foot roll, which I will leave the link below, because you guys definitely got to make sure you have your drain tubes. So I have a 100-foot roll here because they do attach right here. Now, when you install these sunroofs, you have to make sure that you install the drain because when it rains, that's where the water's going to go. If not, it's going to just land inside your van. So with the drain hose, you can route it anywhere you want as long as it leaves the van. So you guys will see by the time I install that. So the reason why I said get the headliner if you can, because in this situation, if you see that box right above the top, right there, right above where the sunroof opening is, that's where the switch mounts. So when I install this in the van, I am actually going to cut this headliner and incorporate that part into the custom headliner I'm making for the van, so that way everything looks factory. I will be able to pop that right in that space, and everything is going to look like it came from the factory. So that's the reason why I'm saying, if you guys plan to do it a different way, fine, but I'm just saying, if your car that you're pulling from has the overhead, it's a nice little thing to be able to keep everything looking factory. Okay, so we're talking about installing a sunroof into a van. Now, installing a sunroof in a van is different than installing it to a car because you have a couple of different challenges. Number one, you need to make sure that the sunroof that you're going to install is large enough so that way the size, the proportion looks right in your van. So whether you're doing a panoramic or whether you're going to do a regular moonroof, make sure you get one from a vehicle that's large enough to where it doesn't look out of place with your van. So this is from a truck, so the size is larger. This is actually about 3 feet. This is about 3 feet wide, the glass itself. So it's going to look decent, at least in the van. As you see, I got the roof skin right there. Now, the difference when doing a truck or a van, in this case, is the roofs are not smooth like they are in cars. Most cars have a smooth roof. Now, you can see this is from, like I said, a Sierra, whatever. So you can see the ribs run along that roof skin. On the van, there's more like ridges, like they kind of dip in. I'm going to go up on the van in a minute, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. But anybody with a van knows they have like ridges on it, which poses another challenge. So let me grab the ladder. Let's go up on the roof so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, so we're up on the roof. I know you guys see all this rust up here on the roof. Don't worry about that. That's for part 2. In part 2, we are going to do all the body work on the roof, and I'm going to paint the roof. But this video, we're just going to cut out and install the sunroof. Now, what I was talking about are these ridges. If you guys see right here, they're like little valleys all over van roofs. And they do pose a little bit of a challenge because it kind of limits where you can put the roof. Now, you can go larger and cut into the ridges, but then you have to do additional body work in order to seal up wherever you cut it, so that way water doesn't run into the van. So the easiest way to do it is just to measure from the flat areas, like here to here to here and around, and cut this area out, and this way you don't interfere with this, and you'll still have a great place for a sunroof. You'll have flat metal to work with. It's much easier. If you want to go large, like a panoramic or something like that, it can work. You just have to do a little bit more work. Now, again, like I said, part 2, we're gonna tackle the roof. So let me get off this ladder. Let me go back in and show you what I got to do to make this work. Okay, guys, we're back inside. As you can see, I have the skin on the table. It is flipped upside down, because what I have to do now is determine where I'm going to cut. As you see, it's way more than I need. Now, while I was up on the roof, I took some quick measurements. Now, this is that area where the dips were up front, where I was telling you guys where this is the flat, that's the flat, where I was telling you guys that. So roughly from the outside of the dip to the outside, it was 38.5 inches, and then from top to bottom it was 16. So that gives me as much flat area as possible. That's with me cutting right next to those dips. Now, here's the problem. The problem is, this is bigger than that. So look at the numbers, 38.5 by 16. The 38.5 I'm not really too concerned with, because the 38.5, just to see how much I got, I can go, there's be like 41, as you see, so we'll be okay there. The problem is here, because it's 16 to 16, so you could add a couple of inches either way, but just that dip part was 16. So here's the problem though. This, with leaving a little bit right here, all the way to just right here, is 24 inches. That's way bigger than the space that's in that little space. That space is roughly like 20, I'm gonna say about 20, because it's 16 from here to here, so the little bit of space there, let's say it's roughly 20. So we got 4 extra inches roughly that we need. So we're going to have to do some trimming. So I have to leave a lip right here so I have a place to weld to. So we're going to probably just bring it in a little bit, like maybe there. Now on this end, some of this is excess. We don't need this per se. The problem is this roof skin has the peaks, as you guys can see here. Those are the peaks. So I have to cut in front of this anyway because I don't want the roof to have the peaks on. I need to get to all the flat spots. Now the problem is over here, there's a peak that runs all the way down here. Now as you see how close the peak is to there. So what I'm going to have to do is split the peak, and then I'm going to have to hammer and dolly this flat to give me that little extra flange. Because I think if I cut it back here, it's just too close. So to give myself a little extra room, I'm going to go right down the center, and then I'm going to hammer and dolly this side flat, and hopefully it comes out like I needed to. Now in this section, the peak is going to run to about here. So we're going to cut here. We're going to cut the skin on the other side to here. We're going to see how this works out. So yeah, sometimes, like I said, we're going to run into little challenges. But, like I said, this roof is a nice size. This thing is, the glass is going to be 35 and 5/8, so almost 3 feet. So, alright guys, so let me see. Now we're going to leave a little bit of wiggle room to be cut, let's say here. Let's say we're going to leave, I don't know, that's a little tight. Let me do this. We're going to leave, let's go right here. That's enough. So we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. So that's where we're going to take that. And we'll go here. And then from here, we have the peak. So we have to come down out the center of the peak to like right there. Same thing for this side. We're going to come down here and there. Roughly, right like that. And then we're going to cut all of this out till we get back there. We're going to cut this out until we get back here. And like I said, from the other side, we really need to cut here just to do the skin, but I know we don't need all of this. So I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to cut off yet. So we're going to focus on this right now. Alright guys, hope this is making sense to somebody. So let me get my safety goggles and we're going to start cutting. Let's get to work. Alright guys, so we cut it. You see the skin is over there. So this is just the first rough cut of what we need. I just have to kind of clean it up. Like I said, I'm going to hammer and dolly down these peaks. It's actually not too bad since I cut it in half. So to flatten it down is not too bad. And this section, I'm still going to have to cut down some more. I just want to put this up on the roof and I want to get an idea of what we can do. Because my original plan was to tuck this underneath and then lay this on top. But this is so tight where it's almost double, as you can see. So I'm probably just going to end up cutting that off. So I just want to go back up on the roof. I want to take this with me. I want to get an idea so we can see where the sunroof is going to sit. All right, guys, let me cut you guys back on when I get back up on the roof. Okay, guys, this is roughly where it's going to go. I did not measure anything yet. This is just eyeballing it from one side of the van, but this is roughly where I'm going to place it. I wanted to keep the outside divots, and it's just going to get rid of the short ones in the middle. And like I said, it'll keep everything looking pretty factory. Now, the problem I'm noticing is right here. You guys see with this overhang, it's going to carry it over to the divots. We don't want that. So I plan to cut it here, but still maintain as much of the skin as possible. I might have to trim it a little more. But we're going to cut it here and hopefully keep us in the flat area. I have it lined up forward just a little bit because I'm trying to keep it from going back, but I don't want it to go too far forward. I want to keep it, you know, level, because I also, like I told you, I want to put that switch up in the middle, so I need to maintain that space. So this is roughly where it's gonna go. Like I said, I'm about to take it back in. We're gonna have to trim up here. We're gonna have to keep as much of this skin as possible, but we're going to have to cut up in here. So that's it. But one more time before I go, doesn't look too bad. Hold on, guys, let me climb up here. Doesn't look too bad that this is where the sunroof is gonna go. And I'm getting excited. We're getting close. All right, guys, let me get off this ladder. Let me take that in so we can get rid of this piece. Okay, guys, we're back inside. So essentially what we're gonna have to do is split this. Now you guys see how close it is to the opening, but all of this is double. These are double wall. This is two pieces of metal together. So what I'm trying not to do is go too deep and go through the roof skin. So we're gonna have to cut this lightly and hopefully just cut through the top piece and cut this all the way out. And then it's gonna leave, as you can see from the edge here, you can see the edge right here. If we cut it up here, it'll leave a nice lip and it will give us enough to weld this into the roof. All right, guys, I'm a little nervous, but that's what we're about to do. We're about to split this, and then we're going to remove this piece, and we should have enough, and hopefully that will be all that we need to remove to make this fit. All right, guys, I'm going to have to grab my stool. This is going to be precise, so let's get back to work. Alright guys, so as you saw, we cut this piece off. Now we got a nice lip to work with. Woo! Alright, well, this is looking pretty good. Like I said, I gotta flatten down this edge, but everywhere else is looking pretty good. So I'm about to climb back up there, and we're gonna see how this fits now that that's been cut. And hopefully, we don't have to do too much cutting, and hopefully we don't have to move it back. Alright, so let me take this back up on the roof and I'll cut you guys back on. Okay guys, so as you see, that helped a lot. So remember, this piece is going inside the van. This is what the sunroof mounts to. So this overhang is all we have to worry about. Now we have a little bit of wiggle room to trim it, or I could slide it forward just a little bit, but we're very close to that edge. I'm gonna try to either move it forward slightly or trim this down just a hair, just to make sure we clear. But I'll see when we make the template, because I wanted to get the rough idea, the rough shape, and then I'm going to make a template out of cardboard for this, so I don't have to keep bringing this, and then I can lay it flat, and then with the template we can see exactly how close we are. And then if I got to do any trimming or anything to the template, then I can flip the template back over onto here, and then I can make this match the template, and then we know we're going to have a perfect fit. Alright guys, so let me take this off. So now this is how we're looking. I just don't want to move it too far forward, but this is how we're looking right now. Everything is looking good. We're barely making it to the flat surface, so like I said, I might have to trim just a little bit, or I'll trim some off the front and move it just I'm trying to keep it from going down to the curved side. Excuse the airplane, guys. Okay, so what I'm trying to avoid bringing it too far forward, because I want to keep it on the flat surface, and also don't want the sunroof just to be directly over the dashboard. So I'm trying to keep it like right here. This is a good area for it. It's right where those divots are. So this is about where it's going. Alright guys, let me cut you back on when we get back inside. Alright guys, so before I do the template, I am going to flatten down the side. As you guys can see right here, you see there's like a little crown here. You see, so we have to get that flat so I can weld it down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a hammer and dolly. This is a dolly. And I'm sure you guys know what a hammer is. But you see right there, that's what we got to flatten out before I can weld it, and I gotta go all the way down. Now I'm not going to, bore you guys while watching me hammer this down, but I'm gonna just do this in so you guys can see what I'm talking about with the difference, right? So we have to get rid of that crown so I can have it flat before I do the template. So hold on. See the difference? That's it. Nice and easy. So I just have to do this all the way down, and then once that's all flat, when I put it in, it'll be nice and flat on the roof and make it easier for me to weld. So let me finish doing this, and then I'll cut you guys back on when it's time to do the template. Alright guys, so I'm done with the hammer and dolly. As you can see, the line is now pretty flat. We got rid of the peak. So now it is time for the template. So all you got to do is find yourself a big enough piece of cardboard like this. Just find a piece that's big enough, and trace it. Now the whole goal of this is actually a trick I learned from Sprayway, but the goal of this is so you can lay that on the roof and lay it flat. You guys saw, like when I was test fitting it, it was still raised up. So if you do this template this way, you can lay it flat, and then that way you'll see exactly where it's going to go. Then that way I can get my accurate measurements. So all you got to do is just get a piece of cardboard, get a marker, and trace it. So all we got to do, we just got to trace it. You want to get it as accurate as possible, because this is what you're going to use. This is what you're going to use when it's time to cut the hole. Now what I'm going to do is trace the inside. Oh, my marker's dying. Oh, I got too far to go to have a dead marker. Hold on, let me see if I got another marker, guys. Alright, guys, well, I found a little fine tip marker, but we're going to work with what we got. Alright, so I finished circling it. Let's see. Okay, so there we have it. So this is the outside line, that's the inside line. Now what we are going to do now, we have to cut this out, which I'm not going to bore you guys with, but we just have to cut this out, and then we'll have a template to go up on the roof. So I'll cut you guys back on in a second. Alright guys, so I got everything cut out, and this is what we are left with. Now here I wrote bottom side, and over there I wrote front. And the reason for that, remember when I traced it, it was upside down. So when I put this on the roof, in order to trace it out, I have to turn it over like this. So that's going to be the front, this is going to be the back, and it will get, this is how we're going to figure out if what we cut off already is right. Hopefully we don't have to do any more trimming. We just got to do a little cleaning up. But hopefully we don't have to trim anymore. And then that will be it. So give me a second, guys. We're going to go back up to the roof with the template, and we are going to see how it fits. Okay, guys, so we're back on the roof of the van. As you see, I brought the van inside. Now, this is what I mean with the template, right? So I have the template here. See where there it says front. That side says bottom. So we put the bottom side down, and now we're going to see if it lines up the way we need it to line up, which is basically on the flat areas. Now if you see here, we did pretty good. We landed on the flat areas, so we don't have to trim that anymore. It looks like we got the side on the flat areas. Over there, like we got a little more room to move over. That's beautiful. And it looks like we're good. We're making the flat areas. Of course, I got to go over there to verify, but it looks right now like we are going to fit perfectly. As you guys see, we're still on the flat. We're not going to interrupt these channels at all. This is all getting cut out. So the only thing we have to do right now is find the center. Now the easiest way, well, I'm going to say this. A simple way to find the center when you're doing a sunroof is to follow the rear view mirror. But on vans, there's an even easier way. And it's right here. If you notice, hold on. If you notice, there are 7 channels, right? Hopefully this is in focus. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So right down the middle would be this one. Right? So that leaves 3 on each end, which now puts this one in the middle. Now, the way to find the center, if you're looking for the exact center, would be to split this in half. So if I measure this right here, it comes to roughly, let's see, 3 inches. It's about 3 inches. So 1.5 inches, which would be It's about 3 inches, so 1.5 inches be approximately here. That would be the center. So all I do is I do a couple of more of those where we look for the center. So put it at the 3.5 inches. Come up here, it'll be 1.5 inches. Okay, so now this is the center of the center. So now all you have to do is get a straight edge. I know this is a little floppy, but basically get a straight edge, and I'll draw the straight line from here to here, and that will give me the center that I need to line this up. Now here you'll already see the line because I've already found the center on here. So you'll see the line already on the template. So once I map this out and trace this, I'll line this up with it, and we'll be at the center of the van. So the only thing I'll have to do after that is go around it and trace it, and then we will have our rough outline for where we're gonna cut. So let me find something a little straighter to do that, and then I will cut you guys back on. Alright guys, so we're looking pretty good. As you guys can see, we got a nice straight line. I do have to bring this out a little further. I'm going to bring this back a little further. But other than that, we are looking good. Now, this is the template. This is the center. So now, when I draw this out a little bit further, as you can see, this will be right back here. And it should work out perfectly. Then once I get everything in position, see how that lines up? Once I get everything in position, now look how nice everything is. We now have the lip to weld. We have room to weld all the way around. And this is going to get cut out, and we're still on the flat surface. So this is working out good. All right, guys, so let me just clean this area up a little bit, and then we are going to get to tracing this out. All right. Okay guys, so as you guys can see, I did draw the line, and I did line it up here. I put a couple of pieces of masking tape to hold it because I'm pretty happy where it's sitting. Now what I did was I gave myself some working room all the way around. This is where the sunroof is going to sit. Now what I have to do now is trace this out, and then I pull this away. Once this is removed, I am then going to come in about 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to draw another line. Now the 1/2 inch is on the inside line is going to be the line that I cut. This line on the outside is just so we know where everything is. So once I pull this off, we'll be able to see everywhere that this is going to sit as far as where the line goes, and then I'll show you guys the where I have to come in about 1/2 inch. And then after that, we're gonna finally get to cutting. So hold on, let me just show you guys. So you're gonna try to stay as close to your template as possible when you're tracing this out. Stay as close as possible, and that way there won't be any surprises. Now this, pretty happy where this is. Like I said, this is pretty centered. It's centered, and it's also in a good place here, because the problem is, you know, when you're gonna blend that bodywork, it's gonna be a little tough because of the divot. So I'm gonna try to do the best that I can do with this space, but I'm not trimming it anymore. I started to trim it back a little bit more, but I'm only leaving myself right now about a ½ an inch of overhang. So we're gonna stop there. That's gonna be plenty. So I don't wanna cut it back any further than that. So it's gonna be a ½ inch on the 3 sides, and then it's gonna be 1 inch on the front. All right, guys, let me finish tracing the other side, and I'll cut you back off when we pull this off. All right, guys, so I'm done tracing it out. There's no need to trace the center. We just needed to trace the outside, and we have done that. So now you guys see the line. So now this is where the skin is going to sit. That's what that line is for. That's just a point of reference. That's where the skin is going to sit. Now what I have to do is I would be measuring from the line a ½ inch in. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to measure a ½ inch in from the line all the way around, except for the front. The front, I have enough room for 1 inch, but the sides and the rear are going to be a ½ inch in, and that's the line that we're going to cut. So all right, guys, this is what it should look like. As you see the double line. The outside line is for the skin, the inside line is the cutting line, all the way around. Now I'm gonna say this because I made a mistake, but this is a perfect example of that old saying, measure twice, cut once. I actually almost made a mistake, but I caught it in time. I thought I had to cut a ½ inch on the sides and the back, and then the front was going to be 1 inch. It actually turned out that it's 1 inch on the sides, ½ inch on the back, 1 inch on the front. So as you see here, I was already marking the lines for the ½ inch, but it turned out to be 1 inch. So I'm glad I did it before I cut it. But you know how the saying goes, measure twice, measure 3 times, and then cut once. So that's it. We are finally at the cutting stage. As you guys see, there's a lot of prep and getting ready to do this right. So we are now at the cutting stage. So the only thing I have to do right now is cover up the interior for the sparks that are going to be flying, and cut this out. We're going to cut the inner line. That's what we're cutting. All right, guys, so on that note, let's get to work. Alright guys, we finally did it. We cut a hole in the roof. Now I have the roof skin right here. So now comes the moment of truth to see how it's going to fit. Now I'm doing this with one hand. So you guys kind of just work with me for a second. Hold on. Whoops. Okay, that side dropped in. Here we go. There we go. So just got to work on that a little bit, bend that down. But look, just got to kind of work on, but look at that fit. That's what we want. That is what we want. That's nice. Look at that. Oh man, I am so excited. Now see back here, it's fitting nice too. We still got some space. Now if I can slide this back, yeah, see, it'll hook. See that? That's what I wanted up here. So we still left enough to be able to weld on it. We're good. We should be good on that side. Just gotta line it up. Hold on, it's not. There we go. I think that's straight. And that's where it's gonna fit. So now what I have to do is grind all this down, grind everything down. Now I just slid it back, that's the reason you guys see that. Now I could push it back to where it was, that's where it was measured, but sliding it back gave it that little hook. See, I'm gonna leave it like that. Now all we gotta do is grind everything down. And I gotta weld this all the way around. But before I do that, I'm gonna use the flap disc to clean all this off. This is gonna be taken off with 60 grit. And that should be enough to strip all of this down. I gotta go all the way around. And then I gotta do the same thing to here. And that's gonna be it. It's gonna be time to tack weld this in. Alright guys, so let me take this off. And let me get back to work. YouTube, I can't resist it. I gotta pull outside, YouTube. I gotta pull outside because we need to know. We need to know. Oh. Ah! Look at that, YouTube. Oh, it's so worth it. If you guys are thinking about whether or not it's even worth it to put a sunroof in your van with all this work, it is worth it. Look at that. Whoo! Oh, look how tight everything is. But oh, this is beautiful. But look at that, YouTube. Oh. All right, that's it. I'm going back in. It's time to go to work. Okay guys, so as you see right here, I have ground down the edges of the van and of the skin. So now I have it in place. This is where it's going to sit permanently. So what I'm getting ready to do now is grab the welder, and it's time to start tacking all of this into place all the way around. All right, that's it. Let's get back to work. Alright, so as you guys see, I have welded everything up. It is welded completely around. Now, truthfully, at this point, I could just put the body filler on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go an extra step, and I'm going to do fiberglass. Now, the reason I'm doing fiberglass is because, as you see, the van is a flat roof. I am in the Northeast. We get snow. So snow will be sitting on top of this van in probably a month or two. So just a little extra insurance, I'm going to do the fiberglass. So I've already cut out some fiberglass strips. As you guys see here, I have the resin right here. I just have to put the hardener in, and that's it. I'm going to put the resin in. Let me just show you guys real quick. I'm going to squeeze some resin in here, and then fiberglass is very easy. So it really is not a lot to do, a couple of steps, but it's a little cool today. So the resin is kind of thick, but we're still going for it. We are still going for it. So anyway, so the fiberglass resin, the purpose of it is because it is waterproof, and although I am still going to do it, the fiberglass body filler on top, this is just one extra level just to make sure, so we don't have any issues along the way. So alright, I got this whipped up pretty good. We got it whipped up pretty good. Just got to make sure we got it in there. Alright, so now all you need is a small brush. There's a little chip brush, it's like 2-inch brush. And what I'm going to do, you dab it in there, and I'm just going to put a first coat on here. like right here. Just cover, it's really just going to cover the seam. So that's all you need to really focus on, is making sure that you get the seam covered nicely, just like that. Right, now that's going to hold the piece. Now I just need one of these pieces. Let me see. It's one of the longer ones. This one would be fine. And you just want to cover the seam that you welded over, like that. And then take the brush, dip it back in, and now you just want to jam it like that. You got to make sure it's good and saturated. That way you don't get any air pockets, and you'll have no problems with adhesion. So I'm not going to bore you guys by doing all four sides. I just want you guys to see this process. And I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'm going to cut you guys back on once I finish up the four sides so you can see what I did. Alright guys, it's the next day and the fiberglass is dry. It looks good. So now what I have to do to clean it all up is go over it with some 80 grit, and I'm going to clean up, get rid of all the loose strands, and just go all the way around. And then I'm going to go over it with the Bondo glass. That's the body filler with the short strand fiberglass in it. And then I'm going to stop there. Now the reason I'm going to stop there is because, like I said, the next video we are going to do the entire roof. So I'm just going to take it to that stage, and then I'm going to stop. Now I'm about to go inside. We're going to put the sunroof in, then we're going to go inside, and then we are going to begin on the drains. All right? Cut you guys back on. All right, guys, so I'm doing my first test fit of the moonroof in the van, and as you guys can tell, it looks great. It fit with no problem. It went right in, bolted right up. It's nice and perfectly centered. So as I was looking around, I'm going to tell you guys the only problem I see right now. If you guys look in here, hopefully it's in focus. If you guys look in there, you can see the cross brace from the ceiling hanging down. Now, as you know, when the moonroof opens, it's going to drop down and it's going to slide back. I do think it might clear the brace. The only problem is whether it clears the brace or not, it's still a little too close for my comfort. So what I'm going to do, I am going to notch that cross member just to give myself some extra room, just so I'm more comfortable. Because right now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not that comfortable. I am not that comfortable because I am in New York, and you know the streets are rough, and I also go camping and hiking, and I'm on a lot of rough terrain, and I'm not going to feel comfortable with that glass bouncing, if it bounces, but just not going to feel comfortable. It's going to be too close, so I'm just going to do it just for peace of mind. And I'm also going to put insulation sheet on the roof, like a Dynamat or something, just to protect it, so that way there's no vibration, or even if I hit a big pothole, it's just a peace of mind. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to notch this out, and that's it. But other than that, I'm out here mapping out the drains. So there's one right there, there's one right there, and the front two corners as well. Now the front ones are going to go down the pillars. The rear, I think I'm going to run it from here over to here, and then down this side, and the same behind me for this one. So that's it. But as you guys can tell, this thing looks good. Hold on. You know, it slides. Everything looks good. And I'm very happy with it. I'm happy with the placement. I'm happy with everything. So the only thing I got to do, like I said, I'm going to pull it back out. I'm going to notch that up, just, you know, to ease my mind, and then it will go back up, and then I'm going to test it. I'm going to open it. All right, guys, I'll cut you guys back on.
A few moments later.
I did remove the cross member. Now you guys can see how much space we gained just by removing that one cross member. You know, that's it. That's all I wanted to show you guys, all right? And here's the part that you guys have been waiting for.
The plane, ha, ha, the plane.